This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ, or Iglesianicristo.
A community united in faith with one purpose: building stronger connections together.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of our listeners and viewers tuning in to Coastal Collective, brought to you by INCRadio, Orange County, California. I am one of your hosts for today, Sister Regine Kitalig, from the local congregation of Anaheim, and I have here with me my fellow co-host.
I am Sister Caroline Nastor.
Sister Caroline, what local are you from?
I am from #Long Beach.
Long Beach!
Yes,
Woo-hoo!
but I'm here in Anaheim.
Yes. So excited for today. Our topic, before we get into it, well, I'll just say the name of our topic. It's Coastal Creations, an Author's Journey. So we do have our special guest here with us. We'll have her introduce herself in a moment, but we would like to read some of our greetings and shout outs here in our live chat for everyone who's tuning in. So Sister Caroline, can you please help me? Let's read some comments and shout outs here.
Yes. So we have at Judith De Leon, so good morning, #Montclair.
Woohoo! Hi, Mom! That's my mom. We have Ka Albert Fiesta saying, good morning po, #OCC family, #Signal Hill. Let's see who else. We have Joanne Balbuena. Good morning po, connecting live from the local of Long Beach. Happy blessed Saturday. Maybe you can read two more, Sister Caroline.
Oh, of course. And we have Caitlin Soto. Happy advance anniversary to #Glendora.
Ooh, Glendora. Wow, so exciting. So thank you so much to everyone who's tuning in. Please stay with us for the duration of our broadcast because, like I mentioned, we have a very special guest with us here today. She is a published author and coming all the way from the local congregation of Carson. I will have her introduce herself.
Hi there, my name is Sister Lizerne Ventura. I am from the locale of Carson, and I'm happy to be here, and you can call me Liz.
Yay! So Liz, we actually go quite a while back. I mean, were we in District Binhi?
We were in District Binhi, and that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah. So long ago. So we do go way back, and then we were also Kadua presidents together at the same time. And it was really nice. But it's so nice to connect with you again, and now you're a published author. And so we're excited for you to tell us, all about your journey, but maybe you can tell us, like, how are you doing? Like what's up with you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. I know it's a blessing to have friends that I've had since 20 years ago, and so it's great to connect with you. I don't think a lot of people get to say that they run into their friends from 20 years ago, and so I'm very fortunate to have this opportunity to see you around on many occasions, and I'm so happy to be here. But yeah, I'm so glad to connect with you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm kind of getting over my allergies. It's like around that time already, but busy with church duties and work and being a wife. What about you, Sister Caroline?
Oh, I can totally relate, Regine. Being a wife, working and at the same time balancing. But of course, we have our passions too, and that's why we have Lizerne here with us to share about her journey of being an author.
Yeah, so maybe we can ask, our first question would be, when did you get into writing, or how did you become interested in writing?
I think early on in high school, I knew that I wanted to do some sort of writing professionally, but it wasn't until around maybe my college years where I really wanted to write a novel, write a book, and publish it one day. So that's as early as I can go back. I've always loved reading and, consuming different types of stories, whether it be movies or anime, manga, web comic novels, those types of things.
Wow. So since high school and then in college, that's where you were thinking. Did you have a sort of style that, or I guess genre of what you would like to, or are you interested in writing different kinds of, what is different genres, or is there one that you gravitate more towards?
Or even your favorite author that inspired you?
Oh yeah.
Well, I do really love the genre of fantasy and sci-fi. I love the genre of just being transported to a different world, and kind of that has to do with some space opera stories as well.
Yeah.
But I found myself gravitating to the fantasy and a little bit of sci-fi genre as I was starting to write and plot and kind of come up with a storyline for the characters in my head.
Wow. So we know that you have a book that you've written, and it's out for, the world to see and to experience themselves. So what was that process like in just writing your book
Or even your brainstorm as
Oh,
well?
yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think early on, I didn't quite know where to start. My background is in journalism, and so that didn't really guide me in terms of like how to publish and how to write a fiction story or fantasy story. And so I first just started writing about characters, stories that I concocted in my head, and things that would inspire me would be like conversations with friends, and I would kind of like, come up with something, and I'd just write it down on my phone or on a notepad somewhere, and kind of just kept this like archive of little short stories of the characters that I came up with. And it wasn't until later on, like in my college years, that I started to actually put a plot together and then an outline. And so it was a very long process for me from the start to where I am now. But I think now that I'm writing my second book, it's the process and the brainstorming is, yes, I start with kind of the characters, come up with their story arcs and the plot, and then write that all down, outline it, and start drafting from there.
Wow, what a process. Do you have like a storyboard where there kind of like some sort of visual management to like help you like put things together, or like if you have like a big table or desk like this, like how do you manage all of that, like keeping organized like with your writing and storytelling?
Or even your own style of writing?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I do have a character sheet, and I kind of like jot down the basics of each character, what they want, what I envision their story arc to be. And I have a couple of different brainstorming sheets where I write more about that character and what I see as their beginning and end. There's a couple of things that I do visually to help myself in coming up with, their features and characteristics. I'll have like kind of like a Pinterest board of sorts or a mood board, just to keep me like from changing what they look like mid-story.
Yeah.
And there are a couple times when I've done that where I've just gotten a little confused myself, and so I do have to like write things down and kind of archive it and refer back to it just so that I can make sure that, okay, everything is consistent.
Yeah, I was always wondering when you're writing and your character is going through something, like how do you picture them in your mind, like automatically, or you think about it first and kind of brainstorm what this character looks like? I know you said you archive it, and so like do you think about it like right away as you're writing like their person?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like, I think that the visual aspect of it comes first. Like I imagine them going through something or having conversations, and as soon as I can imagine it, then I can like put it into writing and put it into words. And I think that's one thing that has come easily for me when I'm reading a book. I know some people just kind of read the words on the page, but for me, it really comes to life. Like my imagination really works overtime to produce like a whole production of what I'm imagining the characters are doing and going through the story. And so it's very visual. It's a very visual process for me.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes.
I love to read, and so when I'm reading a book, I'm picturing it in my mind. Like that's what I love too, is seeing the words come to life. And I like to think of it as you're painting a picture through your words, and it's like in my mind, and so that's really exciting. That makes sense for you to like visualize it and then jot it down. What about you, Sister Caroline? Do you have any?
Oh yes, I totally agree with Regine here, especially as the reader, the author obviously is the storyteller, and for me as the reader, I use my own imagination based on my, experiences and how I can illustrate it in my mind, and I took English literature in college, and from what I've learned, obviously each author, has their own style, but sometimes, they try to, tell the reader or their viewers, like, perhaps, like, what sort of life lesson or what sort of symbolism, they're actually trying to say through their writing.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. It's almost like basic psychology.
Yeah.
In a way.
So, Liz, when you started writing your book, did you go through multiple drafts? Like,
oh, I imagine she does. Writing does a lot of drafts. Yes,
Absolutely.
Did how your first book? Because you mentioned you're on your second book, or you're writing your second book. But at the end of your first book, was it different from how you imagined it in the first when you first started writing?
Yes. I think even the first chapter, which I rewrote so many times, I can't even count like how many times I rewrote the first chapter. It's definitely evolved. And I was kind of thinking back over the years of when I first started, I first started writing this particular book in my 20s. And if I had finished in my 20s or even in my 30s, that would have been a completely different book than publishing it now. So the story has definitely evolved over the years as I've gained more life experiences, as I've traveled, as I've kind of evolved myself and was able to experience other things in life just from living and getting married and
having a child.
Exactly. So that has also influenced all of the things that I've written about.
Wow. It's like come full circle, huh?
Yes.
And I feel like just with what you're sharing with us today, that your book and your writing, I mean, I haven't read the book yet, but I will. Don't worry.
No rush. Thank you.
It's always been my plan. But it sounds like there's so much substance, and it sounds very dynamic. Like with what your life experience is, and in your writing, have you incorporated like specific things that you've experienced in your life within your writing? Or
For sure. Like I want to be clear, this is a fantasy fiction sci-fi book. And so there is this element of magic and things that are in it. But the experiences that I've gone through and the conversations that I've had with other people have influenced me and inspired me. And I've tried to get those things that have inspired me into the book, those things that I care about. So the environment, family, friendships. I've tried to weave those things into the storyline and making sure that it's not only there in a subtle way, but it's also entertaining, because this is meant to be an entertainment, for an escape for fiction and fantasy.
You're like brought to, one thing I love about books is you're brought to a completely different like world, right?
Yes.
You're
Yes, yes.
It's like when you watch a movie, you're just somewhere else.
Yes.
And I mean, obviously it's not real life, but it's like, it's fun, right? It's fun. It's definitely enjoyable. And I think like for me growing up, I remember my parents would always tell me, don't forget to read. You should read a book. And I would always be like, there's nothing that interests me, Mom, Dad, and then there was that one book about that one boy with the scar on his forehead, and I said, oh wow, I will definitely read that, because I watched the movie and then I got into the books afterwards, and then that's how I ended up reading all the books. So like, what do you think about reading and how it's beneficial to like children and adults?
It is so beneficial, and I think that there's, of course, the importance of literacy and making sure that our kids are, reading and expanding their vocabularies and gaining the knowledge that they need from books. And I think there's a couple of studies that support that when you read about characters or any story, you also gain more empathy for those characters. And even if you live a completely different lifestyle, being able to live through them and reading about them also increases empathy for others and compassion for others. So I think that's super important. Also, for anyone who wants to get into writing, it's not only important to practice writing, but to improve your writing, you really need to read. So if you want to get into writing fantasy, you should read in your genre. You should read fantasy books and so forth, other genres as well. So I think it just increases your capacity for learning and gaining more knowledge of what you want to produce, if that's something that you want to do.
Wow. I felt that.
Me too.
Liz, I've told you yesterday, I've always thought about, maybe I should write a book. I have dreams where they're very vivid, and I know you mostly we don't remember our dreams right after we wake up, but I do. Some dreams I remember, and I remember one of my friends said, you should write all your dreams in a book, and I will illustrate them, and you can publish that book. And I was like, I should really think about it. But some of them I'm like, oh, I don't know about that dream, but maybe So, like, what advice, I guess, would you give to someone who is like me, who has always thought about, oh, I would love to write a book, but kind of unsure? Like, have you ever been in that position before?
Absolutely. And I think that there were times when I almost gave up on that, because I had wanted to write a book since my 20s, and then it didn't happen at that time. And then kind of there were just other priorities that needed to take front and center in my life, with church and raising a family and being there for my family, of course, and fulfilling my duties. I am an organist, and so that takes a lot of time and effort. And then I had some health problems along the way, and so I kind of had to put my writing on hold, and that kind of went to the background for a little bit. And it wasn't until later on I had a conversation with one of my closest friends, and I was telling her, I was venting, I was saying I was sad that I didn't get to do this, and I was like maybe in my mid-30s. And I'll never forget what she told me. She said, there's no age limit to when you can write a book. And I think that is so true. You can do that when you're in your 20s, when you're in your 30s. And you can also do it beyond that. You can do that in your 40s or when you're middle age. As soon as you can, I would recommend getting started. And even if it's just researching little by little every day, have a plan to make a little bit of progress so that you can work on it every day and it starts to come to fruition. Take action on it somehow, whether that's drafting, researching, reading other people's works in the same genre that you want to get into. I think that is a great start, just to help you continue to be on that journey of accomplishing your goals.
Wow. That was a lot, but that was so eye-opening, and I will definitely take notes. I'm taking notes mentally right now for what the advice you just gave, Liz.
So you definitely write your book. Get started.
Why do I feel like I'm getting emotional now? I wanted to ask, so you mentioned you are So you're a wife, you're a mother, you are an officer in the church. How has writing either helped you or influenced you in your faith, or how has it impacted your faith or being a member of the church? Like, how has writing helped you in that way?
I think in just trying to pursue this goal of like writing a book, and it's taking me many years to from start to finish. I think that definitely strengthened my faith and challenged me to really put my hope and faith and trust in God's plan, because this wasn't part of my plan to like spend like 2 decades writing a book. And like I said, if I had published it earlier on, it would have been a completely different story, and I would have been a completely different person. So putting my faith and trust in God, in getting this story out there, and really trusting Him that this would be accomplished on His time and His plan is the best. I also think that yes, there were times when I wanted to give up, but just knowing that He had His plan and this would happen in His time, kind of kept me going. And my mom also, she wanted to do a couple things when she was younger. She didn't get her master's in nursing until she was in her 50s, and that really inspired me as well. Like, there are definitely dreams where I feel like we can put an age limit, and that is like self-imposed sometimes, and we don't really kind of ask ourselves, well, does this really have to have an age limit? And maybe it doesn't. Writing a book certainly doesn't. So I would definitely just recommend anybody who's in that position of wanting to accomplish something and go for their dreams to continue praying about it, to take action about it, and to not limit themselves in trying to accomplish it at a certain time frame in life. Trust that to God. Continue to work on it, of course, but know that you're not late. You're not past that age. You're right on time.
Wow. I got a clap for that. That was
I know,
just
inspiring.
amazing. Very inspiring.
Yes.
I know we're always taught that if we do have a plan, to always include God, and He will bless our plans. Like, why wouldn't He?
Of course.
Yeah.
100%.
What about you, Sister Caroline? Do you have any feedback on that?
Oh yes, I can totally relate to it. Especially, I'm already like in my early 30s, and I remember way back in my college years, I really wanted to be an aspiring actress, and I've heard at the time that they said, oh, it's best if you start young and stuff like that. But as soon as I reached like my 30s, I realized, oh my goodness, I can play these characters because I've been in that situation. I built the life experience that I have that I can actually, put into my art, as an artist. And since we're talking about writing here, I've also want to be a screenwriter as well. And, not only it's an artistic process, but, there's production side. And of course, it's a lot of drafts that you have to go through. And of course, since we're talking about books, it's a very interesting process too, on how like you start from a novel, like with the Harry Potter series, like you said, Regine, and then it's interesting, like and maybe one day, Liz, maybe your book might be maybe a motion picture. Who knows?
Ooh,
And then
yeah.
you would do the screenwriting for it.
And I'll act. Yes, and we are not sponsoring anything here. We're not sponsoring anything. That's right. But yeah, no, that sounds amazing. So all of us here we have an author, aspiring authors here. But all right, so I know we're like heading towards the end of our broadcast. So I know, Liz, you already gave some advice, but do you have any greetings or like anything else you would like to share for those who are tuning in that would like to take up writing, or anything else you would like to mention?
Yeah, I do think that there's different stages in pursuing this goal. And I know that if for anyone who wants to write and to publish a book, just know that it does take time. The process it could take, months to years And if you want to be traditionally published, that even takes longer. So be patient, keep working at it, and keep trusting that God's plan is going to work out for you. And I do want to give a shout out, if I can.
Yes, of
Oh,
course.
yes.
To my husband, John
Woohoo!
Mark, and my son, Loki, and also my family and friends, and to anyone watching who has, supported me and given me kind words of encouragement. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And big shout out to my locale, Carson.
Woohoo, Carson! And for those who are tuning in, okay, if you would like more information on Sister Liz's book, you can reach out to her, or we can connect you with her and give you more information on that. But yeah, I guess, do you have any greetings, Caroline, you'd like to give?
I would like to say a shout out to my husband, who's always support me in my artistic endeavors. And of course to Long Beach, and also to the locale of Anaheim here.
Aww.
And our wonderful guest here as well.
All right. Well, before I do my greetings, I think we do have some announcements we have for this entire month of February. Our district is having Bible missions, so please support all of our Bible mission propagational efforts. And in April, we are very excited that our district is hosting the INCRadio Regional Awards. So we're definitely looking forward to that.
Yes.
And I guess for my greetings, I just would like to say, give a shout out to my husband, Brother Daniel Katalig, my parents from Montclair. I send them the broadcast link and they're always tuning in. They tune in, so thanks, Mom and Dad. And even my sister, she's in Northern California, she always supports our broadcast here. And obviously my local here in Anaheim. And Liz, so happy to have you on our broadcast today. And I hope that you being here won't be the last time we see each other or talk. I hope that we'll continue having this connection. But with that, we are gonna wrap up for today. And but before we do that, we would like to give our special thanks. We would like to thank our executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, our deputy executive minister, Brother Angelo Iranio V. Manalo, our station manager, Brother Wally Taray, our district minister, Brother Hansel F. De Dios, our assistant district minister, Brother Joel Narciso, our district CFO overseer, Brother Andres Nicholas Jr., and our executive producer, Brother Emmanuel Endaya, our INCRadio Kuya Tex here in our studio. Everyone who is tuning in, thank you so much, and we'll see you next Saturday on Coastal Collective. Bye.